Welcome to the All Souls Music and Spirit service for Sunday, March 29th. We're glad you're joining us. You may notice a shift in the format from last week. In compliance with the governor's stay-at-home order, we are each coming to you from our homes, and we look forward to sharing this experience with you. Just a few quick announcements to let you know about upcoming opportunities here at All Souls. Next Sunday morning at 9 a.m., meditation will be offered on the Zoom platform, and you can find a link for that meditation service on our website or in the newsletter. Also, next Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m., the group Our Search for Meaning will be meeting from 10:30 a.m. until noon. And again, you can find the link for that meeting on our website. I invite you to join me in a spirit of contemplation for this evening's opening words. And these come from Edward Hayes in Prayers for a Planetary Pilgrim. My beloved one, how easily do I allow fear to be the soil of my life. 10,000 fears cluster at my door, fears of death and of life, fears of thieves and of evil, fears of sickness and old age, fears of unemployment and war, fears of being shamed and injured. O Blessed One, you are my insurance and my pledge. You are my defense and security, my ground. In your love is my soul safety. Of whom shall I be afraid? Amen. And now we come to the time in our service for the lighting of the chalice. Our chalice reading this evening comes from Molly Brewer. My beloved people, I cannot pretend, and so I will not tell you that everything is okay right now. There is no reason to be angry, that you must be optimistic or at peace. I cannot pretend these things, and so I won't tell them to you. But now our chalice is lit, and so I ask us all in this moment that we remember the words of Rebecca Parker. There is a love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding us all. By the light of our chalice, may we rest in this love.
Within me, peace surrounding me, peace from me, by thy grace, let there be peace within me. Surrounding me, peace from me, by thy grace, let there be peace within me, peace surrounding me, peace from me, by thy grace, let there be peace, by thy grace, let there be peace, by thy grace, let there be peace, peace.
Hi everyone, it's Reverend Kim Marie GLYNN, and I'm going to be talking about cultivating new growth. And I'm just thinking, I wish I could have sang with Raph, because we usually sing By Thy Grace, Let There Be Peace together. So I'm just really feeling the absence of everyone, and I can't wait to be together again. By Thy grace, let there be peace. Let there be peace in chaos. Let there be love in fear. Let there be action and reaction. Let there be growth and stagnation. Let there be expansion and contraction. I wanted to start off with a quote from Desmond Tutu, who is our South African clergy, who is wonderful human rights activist as well. And he has a quote that I thought was really meaningful at these times that I wanted to share with you. It comes from God Has a Dream. And he said that God created order out of disorder and cosmos out of chaos. And God can do so always and can do so now in our personal lives and in our nations globally. So I don't know much right now, but what I can say with great certainty is that we're at a time of great uncertainty. And I see this as times of groundlessness, or what I like to call holy ground. where I learned to navigate in different ways than I have before. And I'm imagining you all learning to navigate in different ways than you ever had before. And in many spiritual traditions, this suffering or this dramatic change can often lead to things like salvation and nirvana and enlightenment. First endarkenment and then enlightenment, I remember hearing someone say. So I'm not saying I'm upset. I'm not upset about what's happening. I just want to be really clear that there is a lot of suffering going on right now, and people are hitting the max of what they're able to do, how they're handling life. It's become hard for a lot of people. But I can't help but think about, with every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. And I just wonder what our collective reaction is to this whole thing. And I'm wondering why the virus is asking us to all live on this holy ground together, to be on the soil together, or this ungroundedness together. I think about the seed and, this concept of tending new growth and using it as a metaphor for ourselves right now and what we need to grow. So with the seed, I was just thinking, I have some soil. I know a lot of you may grow. I have sunflower seeds, which are basically just big, so I use them because you can see them. So what I would do if I was a seed right now and I was wanting to grow, which I believe right now in some ways we're being asked to grow, whatever we're growing individually, but also as a collective, we're growing this new garden, but we're not even sure what it's going to look like. But so we're planting, and what we do is we first make a hole and we put this seed in, and then we cover it with dark earth. And if I was going to plant another thing in this pot, I would make another hole. I'd leave some distance, some social isolation, and I'd plant another one. And I would do the same thing all the way around, leaving distance so they all have room to grow. They all have a little bit of solitude so that they can find nutrients and they'll have enough sun eventually to grow. And what happens in the seed process is basically, the seeds are there, and when they decide to split open their shells, they split open. And I thought I'd read to you a quote by Swami Vivekananda. He says, if you have to grow from the inside out, no one else can teach you, no one else can make you spiritual. There is no other teacher but your own soul. So this little seed and its own soul finds its time to break out, and instead of going up and finding the sun, it actually finds its way down. It creates support systems through roots, and they start to tendril out. And if I was using that little pot, often the roots would all come, and they'd actually get to see underground that there are many of them. So the roots actually help see, where the nutrients are, and they also see what else is around. What other connections are there? They learn from each other. And I just wanted to show you from last year, I pulled this up. You can see all the root systems all connected to each other and how that happens. I believe we're doing that right now, underground. We are creating wisdom in networks through Zoom, through the World Wide Web. And the root of the word religion is actually about binding or relinking. And I think in some ways in this isolation, we're actually underground relinking. And just as a shoot would try to find its way around the pavement to grow, the pavement of the world, the things that get in its way, we're finding our way, using the World Wide Web right now, using all of our Zoom calls, our different technologies, but we're also connecting back into the World Wide Web, which has sustained us this whole time, and we're realizing our interconnectedness with everything. This is a time where we really get to experience that everything has influence on every single other thing, and how many people just our touch, how much it connects other things. So we're really cultivating something new here with what we're going through. And the word cult, actually, if you go to the origin of the word cult, it actually means to grow. So in our culture, what we have grown over time, we're also understanding that some of it's not working. Some of the systems aren't working. We all have different opinions on this, of course, and all opinions valid. But we can honestly say that we are cultivating new ways to do things all the time. And in the time of isolation right now, I think we're basically going back to the basics of things. I don't know about you, but I know I'm thinking a lot more about where my water comes from, where my food comes from. How do I get things? How do I get things to sustain myself? What do I need to sustain? What do I actually need to survive if I'm going to be locked in lockdown? So it's really fascinating to see what we actually need to sustain. And I wanted to share with you something I read the other day that was inspiring. Ira Bach, she wrote a book called The Best Care Possible, which is a physician's guide to the quest, or a physician's quest actually, to transform care through the end of life. And she was talking about Margaret Mead. And Margaret Mead is an anthropologist. Margaret Mead was basically asking, being asked, what's the first sign of civilization? And I was trying to think of what I would guess that would be. So what would your first sign of civilization be? I was thinking something like clay pots or a fire pit or something like that. But what was interesting is she said a broken femur bone that was mended is the first sign of civilization. And she went on to say that if an animal broke its femur bone, often it would be a death sentence. It probably couldn't get its food. It might even get eaten by other animals if it was a small animal. It wouldn't be able to find its way to the watering hole unless it was really close, so most likely would die. But she direct quoted this. She said, "A broken femur that is healed is evidence that someone has taken time to stay with the one who has fell, has bound up the wound, has carried the person to safety, and has tended the person through recovery." So helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts. I just thought that was so beautiful. And I think of Ram Dass, and he says, love, serve, remember. It's all about loving and serving. And I see this happening right now. That's the, equal opposite reaction. It's devastating, but then we see this surge of care and so many people coming together. And I ask you, what is your part? And I ask myself that, what is my part? And what is my action? What is my growth? What is our collective cultivation in all of this? What are our collective reactions to it? It's an amazing time, I think, to watch our own humanity right now, our culture, our, so-called civilized and uncivilized parts coming up when all these dramatic changes happen. And when else will we ever get this type of learning again? It's a really interesting time for me to watch my own reactions, how other people impact my reactions. I'm watching my fear. I'm on a roller coaster ride, just so you know. I'm like, whoop. But it's fascinating to watch. And there's so many offerings right now for free classes online and all these different things, but the live stream of our life right now is such an amazing teaching if we get to see right here and right now what we're learning through these times, how we can grow. This is really great teachings. How can we grow ourselves, like Don said? How can we grow? What do we need spiritually? And how can we grow collectively? What do we need spiritually on a collective level to grow? There's so many people adapting and finding new ways of being, and I think it's amazing. I watched the other day just the whole not having enough masks. I watched, people making masks out of fabric, friends making masks. We have the paper towels and staples and rubber band masks, and then I saw somebody using diapers as masks, and then I saw someone cut a bra and use that as a mask. And I'm just thinking about, these are just ways to show that we are ready to adapt, we are ready to grow, we are evolving. And it makes me think that, we don't do things the same way. We're not doing things the same way. We can't. We've run out of ways, and we need to find new ways. So I think that the coronavirus is not only a medical challenge, I think it's cultural. I think it's emotional. I think it's evolutionary. I think it's a spiritual journey that actually we're all on that affects our entire globe right now. I'm not sure how you see it in that way. But I can't help but feel the physicality of myself right now, and the spirit, because I'm reminded of my fragile humanity and human spirits living in these fragile bodies. And despite all the advancements in science, we're still faced with new challenges. And I just want to honor our collective vulnerability right now. Honor our collective fragility. And honor the part of ourselves that I think we are basically rising from. During these times, often we rise in spirit, just like that seed. That's where the shoot actually comes up and rises towards the sun and rises with its surge and its thriving to grow. So right along with spring and all these seeds, we are actually awakening too, I think. Maybe you feel that too. I hope when we are doing this, we can be kind to ourselves through that process. It's such a fragile process, such a vulnerable process to be a new shoot rising up. It's all about love and learning. And let's all learn to love and grow and tend and cultivate new ways of being, and find what we need to nourish ourselves so we can nourish everything else around us. Because love is contagious too. Love is contagious too. And you are all love. So let's go spread that love together.
We come now to the time for our prayer and meditation. So I invite you to find a comfortable place there in your chair, a place where you can relax and let go, perhaps making sure that both of your feet are flat on the floor. And I invite you to begin by allowing your eyes to gently close. To take a nice deep breath all the way in. Hold it for just a moment and then release it slowly and gently. And begin to consciously allow your body to grow more relaxed, turning your mind towards spirit. And if you feel comfortable doing so, take another deep, easy breath, holding it for just a moment and releasing it slowly, allowing your body and your mind to grow more calm and relaxed. And now I invite us to turn our mental attention toward all of those who are suffering with the coronavirus, those who are hospitalized, those who are at home sick, the family members of those who are infected. And let us now focus on sending out love and light and healing energy to all of those who are ill. And I invite you now to shift your attention to all of the healthcare workers and emergency responders and others who are dealing with this medical situation. People who are putting their lives on the line. People who are deeply serving the needs of others. And let us now send them courage and strength and peace during this time. And now let us shift our mental attention to all of those who are making decisions, whether they be government officials or hospital administrators or others whose decisions make critical differences in the lives of people. And let us send them wisdom and clarity and strength for this time. And now we shift our mental attention to those who are lonely, to those who are feeling stranded and apart during this time. Sending all of these people thoughts of love and connection, uplifting and encouraging peaceful waves of thought, opening ourselves to how we may reach out in various ways to help care for them. And now let us turn our minds toward all who are sheltering in place at home, learning new rhythms, dealing with everything in a new way. May we send all of these gratitude, joy, endurance for this time. And as we conclude this time of prayer and meditation, we turn our thoughts toward Divine Source, toward Spirit, who is wellness and wholeness, health and wholeness, knowing that in Spirit we find our strength. And so it is. Amen. When we are meeting here in the sanctuary, we normally take an offering at this time. Of course, that's not possible when we're watching in our homes, but we do want to remind you about the importance to continue giving to the ministry of All Souls, and we encourage you to visit our homepage at allsoulsinterfaith.org. At the bottom of that homepage, you'll find a button that you can press to donate to the work. And as we consider our offerings for this week, I invite you, if you're giving a financial offering, to take that in your hand, or perhaps simply to close your hand around something symbolic of the time or the service that you're offering, as we offer this week's offering blessing. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give.
Spirit, guide me, show me the way, show me the way. Spirit, teach me, show me the way. Show me the way. Spirit, guide me, show me the way, show me the way. Spirit, teach me, show me the way, show me the way. I remember when I look within and find you there inside, in the subtle dreams between the seams, the hidden realms reside. Love is everything, if anything, provides. And love, if anything, is everything. Spirit, guide me, show me the way, show me the way. Spirit, teach me, show me the way, show me the way. Whoa. Set the altar, and I've made my bed. I've prayed my prayers, and I've cleared my head. Met with shadows, and I've made my peace. I've watered seeds of ease. And love is everything, if anything, provides. And love, if anything, is everything.
The closing words are by John O'Donohue, and it's called For a New Beginning, and it's from To Bless the Space Between Us, which I thought was great in terms of our isolation. And it really related for me, this journey of a seed and its willingness to continue on and open into new life, tending new life and new growth. Out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, the beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you are ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness grow inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered. Heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent. Wondered, would you always live like this? Then in delight, when your courage kindled, out you stepped onto new ground. Your eyes young again with energy and dream. A path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. May we all continue to open and grow like seeds growing in the spring. And may we tend each other's growth. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Healthy wishes and much love.